There is a time in each and everyone's life when we felt downcast, rejected and dejected, stressed and frustrated, depressed and worn out. At such moments, many of us have resorted to drugs and substance abuse, violence and brutality. Others have resorted to sex and pornography. And yet some of us have just chosen to end it all by way of suicide. Today in this video, I want to talk to us about two things: identity establishment and purpose execution. Just like a car that is designed to carry a certain percentage or an amount of weight, we are also designed to carry a certain amount of responsibility. And when that responsibility becomes beyond what we can handle, we begin to feel stressed. We are going to burn out and we are going to become frustrated with life. And when you feel these things, or we get involved and start to experience these things, we should also know that we do not know who we are. And that is why we are carrying what we are not designed to carry. Then the other thing we should know is that we are not doing what we are designed to do. That is why I'm talking of purpose and identity. What is an identity to start with? Identity is who you are created to be. Identity is not what you do. Identity is not your profession. Identity is not your job. Identity is not your career. Identity is who you are. Identity is that person that God has created you to be, not what you do. And yet identity has a lot to do, and it influences greatly what we do. Identity has power over our character, over our behavior, over our habits. That is the power of identity. Today, it is so sad that if you ask my generation, who are you? The possibility is too high that someone is going to tell you what they do, what they have studied, which is a sad thing. And because of that, we have struggled with a lot of things. Because of identity crisis, many of us have involved themselves into drugs, substance abuse, pornography, addictions of every form. Violence and temper issues is something that is associated with identity. Yet the peace of mind comes only to those who really know who they are. That's why I felt it is so important to know who we are and why we are here. Identity establishment and purpose execution. Why is knowing who we are so that important? Knowing who we are, number one, helps us understand or get to know what our purpose on earth is. And what is purpose? Purpose is the very reason why God created us, why God put us on planet Earth. That is your purpose. The very reason why God created us is what they call purpose. When you get to understand why God created you, things are simplified. But let me first give you about 5 things which are not why God created us. Number one is, God did not create us to gather financial wealth. If the reason why you wake up each and every morning is to run and make sure that you're gathering money in every corner, you are living a very purposeless life. Number two, God did not create us to gather material wealth or material possession. If what keeps you awake every night is your desire for food, clothing, housing, rent, how you're going to furnish your house, how you're going to put this and this together, then you're also living a very purposeless life. Purpose is not, or we are not created to accumulate academic qualifications or documents or titles. God did not create us for those things. So if you are being stressed and your greatest desire is to graduate from one level to the other, and yet you are not using the knowledge you're being given. Before you graduate, before you completed diploma, you had certificate, and that knowledge of certificate, you have not even used it or applied it anywhere. You are desiring to go for a diploma. After a diploma, you are desiring for a degree. After a degree, you are living a competitive world, but you are competing with yourself against nothing. So God did not create us to accumulate academic titles, academic documents. So these are the things that end up stressing us, because we are living a life that we are not designed to live. 4 is that we are not created, okay? We are not designed, we were not put on this earth to make a name for ourselves. So we stress ourselves trying to build brands and this and that, but God did not create us for that. Those things come automatically if you know what your purpose is on earth. And then number 5, the last one, God's purpose for our lives is not about us. If you think you wake up, you got a job just because you want to put on fancy things, you look nice, buy expensive cars, live in a very luxurious home, that is not your purpose, and that should not be causing you sleepless night, because that is not why God ever created you. Why is it important to know our purpose? Why is it important to know and understand our purpose? Number 1 is that God's purpose for our lives shall be the ground of our judgment on that day. On the day of judgment, this is going to be the ground of our judgment, because there is a specific reason why God created you and I. He has sent us here to execute that. God has put everything together that we may be able to execute our purpose on earth very effectively. And 1, He gave us the air that we breathe each and every day. All these things are supposed to help us in the execution of His purpose for our life. That when we continue breathing, He knows we are going to execute that purpose effectively. God gave us education. He gave us the privilege to study. We have studied to higher level, but unfortunately, some of us are studying without purpose. And when we study without purpose, it becomes a competitive thing. We're just competing one against the other. Who is going to accumulate more wealth? It becomes something to take pride in. And yet God is giving us that opportunity so that we can be able to execute the purpose to which He has created us for. Purpose is very important. We ought to know. And listen, don't get lost. We are talking about the importance of knowing who we are. The importance of knowing who we are is it helps us understand our purpose on earth. And as we go on, I'm going to help us understand that. So we're still talking about why we need to know our purpose. So I'm saying purpose is going to be the ground on which God is going to judge us. When you read 2 Peter chapter 1 and verse number 10, it says, brothers and sisters, make every effort to ensure that you know your calling. You understand your election, you understand your purpose. When you get to know that, you will never stumble. So, God will, because the friends, the relationship, the resources that God has put at our disposal is all to help us in the execution of our purposes on earth most effectively. So, when you get to understand your purpose, you live a very peaceful life. So let's look at number 2, why we need to know our purposes. Why we need to, it determines the choices that we make in life. The form of education we are going to pursue, whether it is formal or informal, must be in line to our purpose. The kind of education we are going to pursue, even the courses we are going to take in, must help us in the implementation, the execution of our purpose on earth. It is very sad that some of us have studied and graduated with degrees, even masters, but we have done what we are not supposed to be doing. It looks like we have wasted all the years we have been studying, and yet we are doing contrary to what we have been studying. And yet, if you help individuals discover why God created them at a very tender age, it saves them from making such wrong choices in life. Your purpose, knowing your purpose, is going to help you in the selection of your spouse, or in the choice you make when you're choosing your life partner. Your life partner must be one who is compatible to your life purpose. When God said, I'm going to make a suitable helper suitable for you, He meant that He's going to create someone who is going to be in line with why I'm creating you. That person must understand why I'm creating you, and he or she has to help you in the execution of that purpose very effectively. In our careers, our purpose greatly helps us. We get to know everything we are going to do in our career must be that which is going to help us in the execution of our purpose, our career, our jobs, our relationships. What I'm talking about relationships, I'm talking about the boyfriend-girlfriend thing. We also have to get these things, we have to get involved knowing that my relationship is going to help me in the execution of why God ever created me on earth. So when we make these choices wrongly without having a purpose, we are going to break down. We are going to lose it all. We are going to go back to ground zero, which is going to be a wastage of time. Number 3, why we ought to know our purposes. Our purpose shapes our decision making. I said before, number 2 was our purpose will determine the choices we make. Number 3 is it shapes our decision making. Our decisions we make in life are not based on feelings or emotions or on what others think is right for us. The choices we shall make in life will totally depend on our purpose, the reason why God ever created us. And then some of us are not designed to study even up to S6, but we think studying beyond P7 is like a curse. And yet sometimes that is what God, that's what you need for you to execute your purpose. That is the knowledge, that is the level you need. So you end up frustrating yourself, wasting resources because you want to be like others. And yet your purpose is saying you only need the P7 knowledge in order to execute that which I have designed you for. But you're forcing yourself and you also want to finish up to the university level. So you end up burning yourself, you end up going out of the line just to get that paper, to get that certificate. Purpose is very important. Number 4, purpose gives us a sense of direction in life. You live a life of certainty, not a life of gambling and guessing. You don't hustle with life. You live it purposely, intentionally. Everything you do it purposefully. Number 5, I will say, knowing our purposes will focus our lives. It focuses our lives. You know what you need and what you don't. You choose them. You know I need this kind of friends and I don't need this kind of friends. I need this gadget and I don't need this gadget. Some of us have forced ourselves to be and acquire gadgets we don't need. But when you are living a purposeful life, there are some things you will need and there are some things you will not need. There is a relationship you will be in and there is a relationship you just don't see the reason why you're in it. And because of purpose, you choose carefully that this is the relationship I want and this is not. This is the kind of person I need and this is not the kind. This is the kind of clothes I need, this is the kind of. It focuses our life. Everything we do is intentional. Under focusing our life, even the kind of jobs that we do. Okay? It is so unfortunate today that if today I put out a notice, there is a job vacancy, we will see tens of thousands applying for this job. Even those who did not study in line of the job being advertised, just because they think they have the degree or the qualification, whatever level has been put on board, they run. So with purpose, you don't run for every job vacancy. You know which kind of job fits you. which kind of job is yours and which kind of job is not yours, which kind of job is designed for you and which kind of job is not designed for you. That is purpose. The type and the kind and the when of relationship is determined when you have a purpose. When you are purpose driven, you know what to do and what not to do, at what time and not at what time. Okay? Let's look at number 7. Knowing our purposes gives us unlimited wealth. 2 Peter chapter 1 and verse 11. It says, when we get to know why God created us and we start to live it out, we start to execute it, God himself will support us. We open an entrance into the heavenly gates of extreme wealth. There's a way NIV puts it. NIV puts it clearly. That when we get to know this, we open the entry, we enter into the wealth of the kingdom of Christ. So there's going to be support that is coming because it is God's purpose for our lives. So it is his responsibility to finance it, to put resources so that we live a very fruitful life on earth. Number 8 is you live, what should I say? You live a confident life, an unshakable confidence. That is the source, because you know that you are doing the right thing and you're on the right track. And this is why I have been created. And for this reason is why I exist. And then the other thing, it gives you a peace of mind. It simplifies your life. You do less, but the quality of what you do is real quality. So purpose simplifies life and it gives you a peace of mind. That is knowing why God ever created you and I. The peace of mind is very important here. Because you love what you do, that is what you've been created to do, and that is why you're on earth. So you do it passionately with all the love you need, and then it makes us productive. It makes us very productive because you're focusing on this one thing that you can do best. You're focusing on your strength. You're focusing on what you can do best. That is why we ought to know why God created us in this life. Number 10, knowing our purposes brings unity and togetherness instead of competition. Because my purpose is going to be different from your purpose. And yet you need me and I need you. Because your purpose will be helping me and my purpose will be helping you. So there is that togetherness. There is that togetherness that comes on board. It brings togetherness among us as people who are loved and people who are created by God. But we have lived a very purposeless life. And one of the things that can show that we are living a very purposeless life, one, the number of heartbreaks or breakups in relationship. It shows that we are living a very purposeless life. We are living a life of trial and error, which is not what God designed. Look at how divorce is on the increase. If you do not know your purpose and you are getting involved in marriage because of some material things or because of what you feel, how you feel towards someone, you're going to divorce. So divorce, at the beginning I talked about things to do with depression, suicide. There is violence. We are living a very competitive life, especially in the field of jobs. Okay? We are living a very purposeless life. Vacancies, the world says we are unemployed, but I don't believe there's unemployment. What we are lacking is knowing our purpose on earth. Your purpose is your job. And with that, you don't have to compete with anyone because you're created differently. And I am created differently. I am created with a different purpose in life. We studied the same thing, but my purpose of studying that thing was to help me in the implementation and execution of my purpose. Likewise, you. So we don't have to compete. They say we're living in a very competitive world, but God did not create us to live in a very competitive world. God trained us or designed us or created us to live a life of love, peace and unity, one with another. That is why we ought to know why we are on this earth. If we are living a very without purpose, we're going to collide, and there's going to be a lot of collision every now and then. So I was telling you why identity, knowing who we are, is important. And one of the point was it helps us understand our purpose on earth. And I've been telling you why knowing our purpose is very important. So let's go to point number 2. And why we need to know who we are. Why we need to establish an identity. Number 2 is our identity will perfect our relationships. Knowing who we are, or knowing who I am, will help me to identify who can be my better person. It will also shape our relationship with God Almighty, our Creator. That's when we are living life from the point of view of who we are. It will shape our relationship with our spouses, okay, with our girlfriends, with our boyfriends. That is when you know who we are. Because I told you, our identity has a lot of influence over our character, over our behavior, of our attitude and the rest. Then even our relationships with friends will be better because we are living life based on who we are. We are relating with these people based on who we are as individuals, which is a very good thing. We become better parents. The relationship with our offspring is perfected, is improved. We are parenting our children based on who we are. How we want to be treated is how we treat them. We treat them based on how we desire others to treat us. Do unto others what you expect them to do unto you. That is why we need to understand and know who we truly are, or who we truly is in this world. So identity is very important, because it helps us, 1, perfect our relationship with God, 2, perfect our relationship with our spouses, 3, with other people in the community, our brothers, our sisters, our other members of the society, neighbors and the rest. Then it helps in our parenting. We parent based on who we are. 3, the importance of knowing our identities. Understanding who we are will give us perfect peace of mind. Why? Because we are living life from acceptance. I have accepted who I am. I have accepted what God has created me to be. I have accepted my skin color. I have accepted the way I look. I have accepted the shape of my body. I have accepted the way I speak. You know, the accent, the tone, the voice, all those things you accept. And acceptance brings contentment. And when you're content or contented with yourself, ladies and gentlemen, you'll have total peace of mind. And when you develop a peace of mind, everything around you is going to be peaceful. The friends around you, you're just going to transmit peace to whoever comes across you. So peace is the peace of mind is very important. 4 is that it will give you and I dominion or mastery over our emotions. Now here we're going to talk more about the mental health, emotional dominion. When you know who you are, there's a way you deal with anger issues, disappointments. There's a way you handle your sexual desires. There is a way you're going to handle depression. That is in line with disappointment, and there's a point of desperation. Okay? Addictions of every form, sexual drugs are all handled because we know who we are. Desperation is going to lead to things like prostitution, Desperation has led to things like drugs. Desperation has led to things like sexual harassment. We have given in ourselves to sugar mummies and sugar daddies just because we are desperate. We have sold our dignity and pride because we want this job. We have exchanged our bodies for the jobs available. And that is desperation. All these are what they call emotional dominion. These are emotions. But when you get to know get to know who you are, you learn to take control over these things one after the other. Violence, suicide, all these things come because we do not know who we truly are. And we are talking about mental health. Number 5, knowing who we are will make our leadership most effective. We are going to lead based on what I call empathy. We put those we are leading in our shoe. You get it? Do unto others what you expect them to do unto you. Because from the point of view of who you are, you want to treat others, you want to relate with others in that same manner. And that gives us a perfect way of leading and dealing with our team members. That is purpose and identity. They are very important things in our lives. So as leaders, we will need to know our purpose and we need to know who we are. Our leadership is boosted. Our leadership is effective. Our organizations are going to thrive because the leaders are leading based on who they are. Number 6, the importance of knowing who we are makes us productive or effective. We become most effective in whatever we do because we are doing the things based on our strength. We know we can handle. If you're going to go in a relationship, you know you're going into this relationship because you can handle based on who you are. So you become most effective. You love better. You relate better. Marriages work best if we are going based on who we truly are. So we are not going to do things based on what people think for us. It's so sad that in our generation, our parents think they know what is right for us. Even coming to choosing courses to do in whatever level, whether university or high school, they think they know what is right for us. The mistake they make is because we came through them, they think they created us. So we are struggling. Adolescents are going through a lot in this generation because there is a lot happening that is forcing them to behave the way they are behaving. No one is understanding them, and yet no one is taking the time to build them up and help them get to know who they are. Your identity, number 7, the importance of identity is that it will help, it will give you, it will earn you respect in society. Why? Because of your character. Your character is very important here. So your identity will earn you respect. You will not force respect, but respect will be earned by the way you carry yourself, and that will be based on your character. Your character will earn you respect or disrespect. So with these 7 things, we must say that we have been, to a certain degree, able to know why it is very important to help our children understand or get to know who they are from a very tender stage. What we're trying to do here is we are trying to help our generation. We are trying to save our generation from a number of things that is happening. We are living a very useless, purposeless life. And some of us are getting wasted away in a lot of things because we do not know, 1, who we are. Number 2, we do not know what on earth we are here for. Identity gives birth to purpose. And when you know your purpose, you are going to live a very focused life, a very peaceful life, without competing one with another. I want to thank you so much for watching this piece of video, for taking the time to watch this piece of video. In the next episode, we are going to go further into getting to know these are some of the things that are breaking or hindering us from knowing who we truly are. When we get to know who we are and what on earth we are here for, all the rest of the things are going to fall into place.